I have to admit, looking at the stack of research we have on the desk today, I had a bit of an existential crisis.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking at the state of AI in corporate strategy, and I mean, the tools right now can analyze markets, predict trends, and churn out a full strategy deck before I've even finished my morning coffee.
It is impressive, isn't it? But that speed, it creates a lot of anxiety. The big question jumping out of all this is pretty blunt.
What's that?
If the AI can do the thinking, the processing, the planning, do humans actually need to bother with strategy anymore? Or are we just, in the way?
Right. It feels like we're approaching a point where we just push a button
Mm.
and the business runs itself.
Mm.
But the consensus from this deep dive is a hard no.
A very hard no.
In fact, the argument here is that human strategic thinking is actually more valuable now, not less.
Precisely. And the reason comes down to a really fundamental difference. An AI is an engine for probability. It tells you what is likely to happen. But strategy isn't just about math.
It's about choice.
It's about choice. An AI can hand you a map, but only a human can decide where the ship should actually go.
So the machine's the navigator, but we're still the captain. It's a bit comforting. But we can't just do things the old way. These sources point to 5 specific skills we need to upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the first one, inquiry. Because, prompt engineering is the buzzword of the century.
It is, but this goes deeper. The danger with AI is that it's a people pleaser. It's reactive. If you ask something generic like, is this a good strategy?
Yeah.
It will look for every possible reason to say yes. It's designed to validate your
bias. It's basically a high-tech yes man.
Exactly, a high-tech yes man. So to get real value, you have to flip the script. You don't ask for validation, you ask for a stress test.
So what does that sound like?
Instead of, is this good, you ask structural questions. Things like, what specific conditions must be true for this strategy to succeed? Or, my favorite, what are the 3 most likely ways this whole plan fails?
I like that. You're forcing it to be the critic, not the cheerleader. But that leads to the next problem. The AI spits out mountains of data. We're all drowning in dashboards. How do we handle that signal from noise problem?
This is the second critical skill, and it's a big one. We have this idea that more data equals more clarity. But in the AI age, data is infinite. The human advantage here is filtering.
It feels a bit like Netflix paralysis, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You have 10,000 options, so you just end up watching nothing.
That is a perfect analogy. Paralysis is the enemy of strategy. A human strategist has to look at that wall of data and just ignore 90% of it.
Actively ignore it.
Actively. You have to find the 2 or 3 levers that actually drive the outcome. Focus is a very active skill now.
Okay, so we filtered the data, now we look forward. This brings us to scenario thinking. But hang on, if AI is built on data, shouldn't it be pretty good at predicting the future?
You would think so, but here's the trap. AI predicts the fat part of the bell curve, the average.
The most likely outcome.
Exactly. It assumes the future will look roughly like the past. But real strategy often lives in the outliers, the black swan events that break the model.
Right, the things nobody saw coming. A market crash, a pandemic, a sudden tech breakthrough.
All of it. If you only plan for the most likely scenario, you're fragile. So the sources argue we need to prepare for multiple futures at the same time, best case, worst case, and what they call the disruption case.
Preparedness beats prediction. I dig that.
That's the mantra.
But let me play devil's advocate on this next point. Trade-off discipline. The research says AI has a bias toward addition. Why is that a bad thing? If the AI finds 10 profitable opportunities, why shouldn't I chase all 10?
Because resources aren't infinite, and focus isn't infinite. AI sees 10 things that might work, so it just suggests doing them all to maximize the mathematical chance of success. But strategy is about exclusion.
It's about what you don't do.
Yes. So if you just listen to the AI, you don't get a strategy, you get a to-do list.
That's a diluted brand, I'd imagine.
For sure. The hardest, most human part of strategy is looking at a profitable opportunity and saying, no, that's not who we'll have. You have to ask, who will we not serve? AI struggles with that. It just looks like leaving money on the table.
Okay, that requires some serious backbone. Which brings us to the final piece. How we actually live with these things. The sources use this term AI augmented versus AI dependent. What does that look like on a Tuesday morning?
Think of it like a GPS. AI dependent is staring at the blue line, following it blindly, and driving your car into a lake because the map wasn't updated. You've outsourced your judgment.
Which happens more often than we'd like to admit.
Right. AI augmented is using the GPS to check traffic and calculate routes, but you, the human, you know the destination and you're watching the actual road for potholes.
So it's a partnership, not a replacement.
It has to be. You use AI for the heavy lifting, for the analysis and the evidence, but you reserve judgment and interpretation for yourself. The source calls this strategy literacy. It's the survival skill for this decade.
That's a fantastic place to land. It's not about fighting the machines, it's about learning to be a better driver. So here's a thought to leave you with today. If the AI provides the engine for analysis, are you actively steering the wheel of judgment, or are you just sitting in the passenger seat hoping the data knows where it's going? Thanks for deep diving with us.